It's not every day that you see a Harvard dropout comes in to challenge the traditional finance system.
Read the white paper, Bitcoin, Ethereum, read all these things. And once I did that, this can really be the big change of financial system. Average user can understand Infinite as a platform that allows you to do two things. First is,
So in simple words, what you're saying is this is my personal financial system that helps me not just discover the right products, but also helps me formulate the right strategies. You guys actually did a huge partnership with Google, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
congrats on that.
Thank you.
Tell us more about that. Like, what sort of partnership is that? How does that kind of enhance the current offering?
the reason why I think Agentic DeFi has not taken off yet, because the fact that users have to develop a new behavior to work with agents are not as smooth.
What's one of the most, one of the verticals that has been around in crypto and you're like, this is bullshit?
We're not just building product just to capture like one small market. We will keep iterating and experimenting to really change the user behavior of how people think of use of DeFi.
GM everyone, welcome back to the Base Show. Today I have a very exciting guest with us today who's been at the forefront of innovation. And she's not only been building, but she's also been building the redefined version of how agents and users interact with each other. A platform that redefines the complexity of what we all know as DeFi into simple one-click experiences. And by the way, we have always seen people or degens or builders in the space that have dropped out to become traders and make it in this space. But this one's special because she's not just dropped out from any college, but she's dropped out from Harvard. Ladies and gentlemen, let me welcome Tasha, the co-founder and CEO of Infinite Labs, to the Base Show. Welcome, Tasha.
Thank you. Thanks for the intro as well.
Well, I guess it's not every day that you see a Harvard dropout that comes in to challenge the traditional finance system. So Tasha, I mean, for me, that's one of the big things because, we know people going to the best colleges out there and that's a privilege, but not many people actually drop out and then build successful platforms like yourself. So I guess first question, what was that drive behind, give us a little bit color of your background, right? Like you went to Berkeley, then you went to Harvard and you dropped out. Tell us more about that story.
Yeah, I think there's always, a big part of me and continues to be growing, that I really want to make a mark in the world, strategically in a way that I can, right? I'm not going to be, idealistically doing things that not following my strength. But that urge itself really guides my decision, pretty much, every major decision I would say in my career or life, right? Whether it is to join investment banking or to pivot into product management or to drop out of Harvard, all these under the hood kind of stem from that urge to create something that really change the world. It doesn't have to change, everything in the world, but
Absolutely.
Change a particular part that I care about in the world. And I find, DeFi very serve that purpose because personally I'm very interested in finance,
Right.
and financial systems. And so that's my first, interest, right? And the second belief I also have is that a lot of the people out there can grow a lot more, financially, knowledge-wise as well, if they have access to the financial system. But because financial system, is guarded, gated, and also very complex, then that is a pretty big challenge that stems to me that, hey, that's something I want to figure out and solve. Right?
Absolutely. What's the background, right? Have you worked at banks before? What sort of if you could just walk us through that journey towards entering the crypto space, when did you enter the space? What was that aha moment of you saying, hey, DeFi sounds interesting, and then we actually venture into it?
Yeah. So back when I was in university, I actually interned in 10 places,
Okay.
all in finance.
Interesting.
So different pockets of finance, private wealth, investment banking, venture capital, private equity, all these different pockets.
Wow, so you got a taste of everything.
Yeah. And then after graduation, then I did investment banking in the US.
Okay.
So did investment banking in the US, focusing on tech companies. And then after that, I also did investment banking in London. But then, after a while, I feel this is not the right path for me to my end goal. and I did a pivot to join Tencent as a product manager, which is quite a rare pivot back in the days because product manager was not a thing, especially a pivot from investment banking. So relearned everything. The only thing I think was transferable was like my Excel and like PowerPoint skills a bit, but the rest was not that transferable. And that was like pre-crypto years. Still at the end of the day, I think my urge was still there, which is I want to create something, I want to found something. And that's also why I pivoted from investment banking to product management. But I wasn't sure like what I wanted to, like what impact I want to make and like what sector I want to start with. And back then, I was like, okay, let's take a pause in life and really think about it. But to take a pause in life, then I decided to pause during MBA, and maybe like that really like get me to zoom out and like evaluate again like which sector do I really want to create change and find the right partner, right? And during that year, that was also COVID year, 2019, 2020.
Right.
Luckily, I think the timing kind of helps facilitate me to get more time to explore as well. Because I decided to pause on MBA because it doesn't really make sense to learn during COVID. And then during that pause, I also spent a lot of time understanding myself and getting connected with more of the people that I think have similar interests to me. And one of the person, also was doing some sort of like a DeFi experiment with himself, which is, my co-founder now. But back then, I think what really got me, aha moment into really building in blockchain was actually two moments. So the first moment was like, I traded crypto for many, many years until I realized, okay, let's really dig deeper and really understand the whole thing. So read the white paper, Bitcoin, Ethereum, read all these things online, everything, self-studied. And once I did that, then I figured out hey, this can really be the big change of financial system. So that's the first aha moment. The second aha moment was when I was chatting with my friend of friend, who was that person, now I'm a co-founder, who was dabbling in different DeFi experiments and different DeFi products. His background, my co-founder, is more math,
so a bit more
a bit of AI,
side.
Math, some sort of a bit of AI, but majority math and computer science. And I find that very interesting because now if we're gonna bring financial systems on chain, everything's all math,
correct?
Right. So we got to start bouncing a lot of different ideas, hey, what do you think of this? And then I have different ideas, and then he keep bouncing because he comes from another angle. And then it really kicked off from there. So that second aha moment was when I was like, wait, I think there's something here, right? And then when I feel like there's something here, then I decided to explore further and did different experiments. Experiments meaning launch products, small products, and test the markets. And one of the product really took off, which is called Alpha Hamura back in 2020.
Let's just go and ask that.
Then it kind of everything's a history from there.
Interesting. Yeah, because I was going to say this isn't your first rodeo, right? I mean, Alpha Finance did take off very well. Actually, it was one of the top, if not the few tops ICOs back in the days. Right, and also listed on Binance. Right. I guess a little bit rewinding to Infinite Labs today. How would you explain that to an average user in the space?
Average user can understand Infinite as a platform that allows you to do two things. First is, if you don't know what to do in DeFi, you use our product Infinite Intelligence, and you would get insights of what are the relevant opportunities are there for you in DeFi that are right for you. I think of it as a discovery process. In other words, it's more of a personal, financial assistant. And the second thing is, now that you know what you want to do, whether you know yourself or from Infinite Intelligence product,
how do you do it?
So then Infinite Strategies is the product where we enable anyone with different ideas to just write in normal human language what they want to do. So imagine write a workflow, step 1, 2, 3, 4. We call it Prompt-to-DeFi.
Right.
And behind the system, there are 30 agents working together in the agentic infrastructure that we built.
Wow.
to coordinate. So think of it as like they're like minions that we build minions for you.
Wow.
We build minions for everyone.
And these
so
are all
that,
custom built from the team, by the team, and you're not using external
yeah,
agent.
correct.
Okay, interesting.
But the key thing is like because we built the agentic system such that each agent can work with each other, then it means that, for example, now that we have 30 DeFi agents, it means that it doesn't mean that it can only do 30 things.
Yeah.
It can do a combination of things. So this one agent can work with the second, third, fourth, or maybe the first agent might just be working with the sixth agent. So depending on that workflow that you write or the steps of things you want to take, these agents will know which agents have to be activated and execute things for you. So I think this second step here really lowers the barrier because DeFi is so hard to use, and now it's even harder to use than before because there's so many blockchains,
I agree.
so many tools, so many applications, and information is also like very fragmented. So to consume the information and to execute on that information is so hard.
So in simple words, what you're saying is this is my personal financial assistant that helps me not just discover the right products, but also helps me formulate the right strategies based on my goals, and then eventually helps me execute them as well.
Yeah, correct.
So if I had a let's say 10K and I wanted to farm, let's say I'm looking for a good, reliable protocol to farm maybe 7 to 9% APY, I can prompt there.
Yeah.
And I can just go and it kind of suggests and recommends me the right things to do.
Yes. And then the things that it suggests you in Infinite Intelligence are the things that are linked with the capability of DeFi agents that it can execute as well. So it will not, there are multiple suggestions that, you may want to do yourself because it's like riskier or whatever, but majority of the suggestions are also executable within the platform.
Okay.
So once you say that, hey, like you want to do this, then...
Give me one unique experience.
Yeah, so a lot of the use cases as of now are like airdrop farming.
Interesting.
And probably because there are a lot of like projects, launching tokens and everything nowadays. And I think the use case will vary depending on the market niche and like evolution as well. But as of now, for example, there are multiple strategies that evolve around hyper EVM.
Right, naturally.
And you might think that, okay, hyper EVM airdrop farming might just be one strategy, but no, because some people, have different orders of things they want to do things. Okay. Or some people have different like numbers that are different. For example, like some users say that they want to do 1, 2, 3. Some users say no, they actually want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then adjust the percentage of number 3 to be different. So this means that our platform actually enable anyone to build their own strategies and customization.
And then can I go follow that strategy as well?
Yeah, you can. Okay. So it works similar to copy trading as well, in which if you don't want to write your own strategy, which not everyone wants to, right? But you can come in and you can see like, oh, who has written what are popular, what's the APY of these, and we also show the strategist. So, if there's a particular like KOL that you follow or like, expert you follow, then you can see what they have written and just like copy them.
How many strategies do you have live?
Right personally? Now we have, personally, 5.
All right. Interesting. I'm going to check that one out.
Yeah.
Give me your most unique, or let's say the weirdest one that you think will be, I don't want to say alpha, but the most interesting one.
Usually I do like the more safer one because I want to make sure like it kind of tailors to like the right users as well.
Right. Because
I think if it's too degen, then there has to be multiple like management tools, which we don't have those management tools yet. That's something we're working on.
Okay.
So that's why the strategies we put on are going to be the strategies that like right for the
a bit more conservative.
Yeah, a bit more on minimal like management needed as of now, and that kind of like leans towards the less super like active management and less degen. Yeah.
It's interesting because a lot of times, of course, I think, like you said, DeFi is very hard to understand. Also, a lot of people have only heard like the negative side of things, especially when protocols go bust, or with your management of wallets where you get hacked, and then you don't end up having access to that fund. So I think that has obviously put a sort of a red mark into people's perception. So if people do start, getting access to more reliable options and strategies that have worked in the past from people that are very, I'd say, deep into the space, I think that's a good start for newbies, but also experts.
Yeah.
You talk about different strategies, and you talked about building different things. I've seen very recently that you guys actually did a huge partnership with Google, right?
Yeah, that happened.
So congrats
recently.
on that.
Thank you.
Tell us more about that. Like, what sort of partnership is that revolving around the product, and how does that kind of enhance the current offering?
Yeah, so if you look at our product, we have two end solutions that I mentioned earlier: infinite intelligence, infinite strategies.
Right.
But under the hood, we build what we call just our infrastructure. We call it infinite AI agent infrastructure.
Okay.
But this infrastructure powers these two products. Our view and our vision is that this infrastructure is not and should not just be limited to our products.
Right.
It should be enabling other developers and other teams to be able to build Agentic DeFi as well. And a good analogy that I think people can understand is that smart contract is composable, right? And that's why when there is a functionality to create a smart contract, it enables developers to be able to compose multiple things. So I see that very similar to DeFi agents or agents being very composable. Now that we have 30 agents, what does that mean? To make things even further, it means that we should enable this to be in as many ecosystems as possible, so that when any developer want to build, let's say, Agentic DeFi on whatever ecosystems, they don't have to start from scratch. They can actually use our DeFi agents.
Right.
And then they can build different services on top, or even like build different functionality or products on top. But our DeFi agents become like the building blocks, right?
So you're actually building the entire rails for it as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the partnership with Google enables us to tap into Google ecosystem. And our DeFi agents now are within the Google A2A, which is the agent to agent standard,
Right.
and also within the Google agent space, meaning that anyone who built within the Google ecosystem and want to make use of our DeFi agents would be able to call and use our DeFi agents to build on top, which is, I think this is as a win for us and win for Google and win for the new developers. So new developers is definitely a win because they don't have to start from scratch. They can leverage from what we have. I think Google win as well to be able to help facilitate more developer doing more activities within the Google ecosystem using Google infrastructure. We also win because that means that now our DeFi agents and our infrastructure is now being connected to more ecosystems, and other people, as they other developers, other teams, as they use our DeFi agents, we also are able to monetize from that as time goes on as well.
Very interesting. So I guess you touched upon the term that I was about to ask, and this is something that a lot of people in the space are usually very curious. How do you monetize?
So multiple ways. On the end consumer, I think the easy way is on the infinite intelligence. We do subscription.
Okay.
So the freemium model. So of course more customization, more personalization you would get if you subscribe. Infinite intelligence, infinite strategies, which is on the execution side, we collect fees from execution.
Okay. So every execution there's a fee.
And there's actually a calculation in terms of how complicated that transaction is, because a particular workflow might involve 18 steps, and we actually do have different strategies that actually have 18 steps executed by agents in one click. So we see that this transaction is actually pretty complex, so it should be charged higher than let's say a transaction that have 4 steps.
Got it.
Yeah. So, and each step involves multiple agents, right? And then in the developer case, or the infrastructure case, for every call that developer call to use our DeFi agents, I think of it as our minion have to work. So then we charge for the minion's work.
Right.
Because we build those minion to be helpful for other people as well. And now as they are being helpful to other people, then we charge small fees.
Got it. Tell me more about, so I've been quite curious about this. So DeFi, and then we talk about agentic, AI agentic and stuff. Sometimes when you talk about these use cases to an average finance user or stakeholder outside of Web3, they don't get it, right? And I feel like there's still that huge gap between them believing that AI can actually start doing all of this for you. I mean, of course, ChatGPT, cloud, we can all see all that sort of stuff that kind of almost complements your daily life. But how much from a perspective of you building this and now, let's say a partnership with Google, what sort of a percentage of usage or adoption are you seeing from the non-Web3 world to the kind of products that you guys are building right now?
I think if we look at non-Web3 users, there are two barriers right now, right? One is crypto in general. When say crypto, people would like scare off. So I think in order for us to get actual adoption, we need to jump that hoop first.
Right.
The second is when people actually do things on chain is very troublesome.
Right.
So for us, given that our products are on chain, we target the people who are already on chain, or at least already passed the first loop of crypto. So whether there are crypto traders on wallets, those are also our target users.
Okay.
So that's why we're also like integrating with different wallets to enable these one-click strategies that are built by DeFi agents to be surfaced on different wallets, so that for these crypto traders who are already on these wallets, they don't have to go through multiple applications to actually use DeFi. So we're bridging that gap. But to actually bridge the first gap for those who are not in crypto yet, I think that's going to take a bit of time. And I think it also takes all of us effort as well for the whole industry.
It's I don't know, should I say it's only getting worse, because this cycle has been very tough for retail, right? And a lot of people have lost more than they have made. And obviously I think the negative connotation of the industry as a whole hasn't really helped, apart from Trump making his moves. Another day, another topic. We've seen a very huge leap in terms of, I'd say, I personally believe it's not just the meta, the more I dig into it, but and I feel like there's a huge opportunity. But I'm very curious on your thoughts of X402, right? And also if there's anything else that you feel or believe that is something that you guys are looking into, and it's kind of exciting from that level, right? So we'd love to kind of understand how is Infinite kind of like, I mean, one, what is your thoughts on X402 and like that sort of infra layer stuff, and what other stuff is Infinite building?
One thing that is interesting to point out is that X402, I would say, is the first standard that really kind of took off in terms of agent to agent, right? Like, I think it's easy to put out a standard. It's just a piece of code, right? But to actually get it adopted is another thing. And I would say X402 is the first agent to agent standard that is starting to get adopted. So that's the first point. And to kind of like dig a bit more on X402 for the audience as well, is like, it's a standard that Coinbase put out for agents to be able to pay or like settle payment to other agents. So if you think of it before this X402, it means that these different companies, including Infinite, we build our own DeFi agents, we build our own AI agents, and it's like individual ecosystems of agents, right? However, there is no connection yet in terms of how can this agent pay the other agent. So then X402 is the first part of the puzzle that kind of like tackled that thesis. I don't think X402 is the only thing. I think there has to be a lot more things as well, because the fact that X402 is starting to get a bit more adoption, there is something here. It doesn't mean that a lot of these meme coins will kind of take off, but I think it means that it gets enough adoption that people start to think, hey, what does this mean, right? And that's also what Infinite is thinking as well. Like, hey, if we are heading towards the world of agents doing actions, that means that human probably don't want to actively doing action as much. So let's say if you have the option of doing everything yourself or doing everything 50-50 and then 50% agents can do it, or 100% agents handle everything for you within the scope that you set, right? I think majority of people will pick the 100% agents doing thing because people can use time to do other things, right? So if the world is kind of trending towards that way, then we have to think further, like, is DeFi built for agents to do things across themselves without human intervention? And right now, no, right? Right now, it means that users actually have to pre-sign things for certain things for agents to be able to do. Or if users don't pre-sign, then for every transactions that agents are going to execute, users have to agree to it. It's still very like user agent relationship, but not so smooth because people are already used to doing things themselves, manually, like right now, right? So that's why this is also the reason why I think Agentic DeFi has not taken off yet, because the fact that users have to develop a new behavior to work with agents are not as smooth because people are already used to doing things themselves, and agents are not really helping them as much. So I think we have to develop multiple infrastructure pieces that actually move the needle in agents relieving the task of users instead of like adding the tasks that users have to do.
Right.
So, and then that would be the moment where it really takes off, that users say, hey, like, oh, I have this option to not, do all these myself, and it works, So I think it's still going to be a very long way towards that. And within Infinite, our team, we are also thinking that, hey, like, our end products are run by agents, but in order for our end products to actually be adopted massively, we don't think that users will come over time. Like, we don't think users will come individually to each platform. Like, there are like tens of millions of like applications out there. Yeah, we don't see a world where people actually know what those tens and millions applications are. So what does that mean, right? So these are the things we're also discussing, and also some of the problems we spot out will also result in new products that we build.
Interesting.
So I think in the near term, we may see multiple products that Infinite built, but it's also because we're solving the bigger goal of how do we create a system of agentic DeFi that works.
So is this kind of safe to say that Infinite is building the infra and the rails, but also building the applications that are eventually going to be used on these rails as well?
Yeah, correct.
Right. Interesting.
And I think we started out building the applications, but then as we build applications, we realized, wait, all these rails are not built yet, and no one's building.
Right.
So we're building those rails that we use ourselves, and we also look to see how these rails can be adopted externally as well.
You mentioned about traders and these agentic traders. I'm curious, given the fast-paced innovation and the results and quality of these agentic traders, are we going to see retail traders obsolete in, let's say, 5 years?
I don't think so. And I think very similarly to TradFi, in which technically these agentic traders already exist in like hedge funds, right? Like hedge funds use AI to trade. Algorithmic trading like happens for like a long time. What that algorithmic trading enables, I think it actually enables, it spreads out the alpha beyond just a small group of people.
Right.
Because back in the days, without algorithmic trading, the alpha is actually shared among, let's say, like CEOs of like banks, and then they know among each other, and then only the people within that network would get to know, and therefore there's a huge discrepancy, right? But then when there is algorithmic trading, then these AI is able to spot this discrepancy and then trade on it, and that opportunity is given more to like mid-sized funds, smaller funds that are hedge funds. Still, the retail traders are not using like algorithmic trading, right? But these retail traders more and more time like invest in these funds that use algorithmic trading. So kind of if we apply that line of thought to, let's say, on-chain, I think we will also see something similar where I think a lot of these different agentic trading will become more of like funds, like hedge funds. And then people will, like normal people, maybe they trade their own less, like manually trade less, but they just put the funds in these agentic trading fund,
Have you seen like these agentic trading funds outperform retail traders yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not at the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think it will take quite a while as well.
Because that's
to
when I
get there.
feel
Yeah.
when things will really flip,
Yeah.
right? And it will be very interesting to see what sort of algorithms and learning curves each of these agentic traders have
Yeah.
to kind of develop that, beat the system, like, essentially.
Right.
Because I would be very curious if there was any, forget retail, or forget even market makers, any AI that would have predicted what happened on 1010. Because if there is, and there was that sort of results to prove it, I would invest. Right? But I'm curious, and maybe this is a message out there in case anyone out there has built this and
Already
you can
building
prove
this.
results.
Yeah.
But fantastic. No, this sounds super bullish. I mean, again, just going back to this whole the whole background of yourself and leading into this whole world. I mean, obviously it's one that you come from the traditional banking sector, and you've seen and touched all those kind of different, I'd say touch points, to now kind of challenging that, solving problems on chain, essentially, for the next generation to come. I want to dig into a little bit more of your, I'd say, personal thoughts and opinions, and not just Infinite. What was your first crypto? What was your first?
2018, late 2017, early 2018.
What was that? Bitcoin?
Bought Bitcoin.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good on you. Yeah. What's your most favorite L1 or L2?
Favorite L1, I would still say Ethereum.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think there are some hiccups and issues here and there, different opinions, but I still do believe in Ethereum. And I think their initiatives on AI will be meaningful.
Okay.
Like 804 that they launched. Again, like multiple standards needs push to get adopted. It's not just a code to like push out as a standard, but I think Ethereum has the personality and the characteristic of chain and culture of the chain that would be able to take it off.
Interesting you say that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I feel like to drive a change is not just about the tech. It's about like the beliefs and the community that run the chain, or like technically like the community that forms the company, right? So if you look at how a change is built, you have to look at how's the companies composed of. And among all the L1s and L2s, I do think Ethereum has that caliber of ability to make change.
Fantastic.
So that's that.
I mean, of course, from a product standpoint, you are integrated with majority of the protocols out there.
Yeah.
I guess a little sidetrack again. Is there sort of, let's say, any protocol on a particular chain that you have seen more adoption than the others? Like, for example, DeFi on Solana being more leveraged or used than, let's say, Ethereum, for instance, or vice versa.
I think...
what does stats say?
Yeah. I think the one... It doesn't really... like, chain doesn't matter much. It's more like protocol itself. So we see more strategies built around Pendo, and I think that kind of makes sense. But, like, a lot of people, I think, are trying to think of different ways to make money around Pendo, as opposed of figuring out, hey, like, this is my strategy, what are the ways? So like, I see the line of thought is a bit different, where they see that, hey, like, Pendo has a capability to be, building block that make money. So people think, how do I make money from this building block?
Right.
Yeah. So if we look into the strategies on Infinite's platform, quite multiple strategies are involved Pendo agent. So our Pendo agent, works very hard.
Oh, interesting.
Compared to like other agents. Yeah.
I've read this, and maybe you can confirm or not. I read this as a tweet. Someone said, you understand the way Pendo functions. You are the top 1% of a DeFi user.
Oh.
Is that correct?
I think so. Especially Boros is very hard.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, I'm not one of those, I can tell you. So I know it from the surface, but as you dig deep into it, you're lost. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing this is where infinite strategies will
Yeah,
help
can
me.
help you. Yeah.
There you go. Fantastic use case.
Yep.
What is one? I know what your most favorable narrative in the space is, DeFi. What's one of the most least, or let's say a narrative, or one of the verticals that has been around in crypto, and you're like, this is bullshit.
Damn. You're putting me on spot. This is bullshit. I think games. And
wow. Okay. I hear you.
yeah, and that's because I don't see a need for why. Well, apart from the gaming asset itself, like why does the product have to be on chain? And maybe because I'm not like a deep, gamer myself, but I actually think that a lot of the times when you're forcing it too much, it becomes worse, right? And that's what we saw with games in the last cycle, where you're trying so hard to put the product on chain, and it makes it worse. Like the product's slower, it glitches more, and yeah, just not fun to play. I do hear the point of like, okay, gaming assets, transferable, transparent on chain, and all those things. And that's a use case for it, but that's only the gaming assets, right? That's not the core product of the game itself. Yeah, and some people may argue that, hey, like if you play this game, how do you know this is actual results, right? Then in that case, then you just put that particular part maybe on chain, but not the whole game.
Yeah.
But maybe because in crypto you kind of need that narrative of like on-chain gaming, so that's why you need to put the whole game on it instead of like just that particular part. Yeah, that's my opinion.
Fantastic. I think you're not wrong. Sentiments have proven so. We have invested, personally, I've invested, in my syndicate has invested millions of dollars into games. And I we've helped market 4 games as well as part of our agency. And it's a tough PMF, to be honest, right? And on the other hand, if you look at the Web 2 side of things, like the traditional gaming, it's growing nonstop, right? And I guess it's that difference in speculation between that, playing the game, enjoying the game, but the price action of it at the same time. Tasha, I wanna actually, one thing that I've always admired, and not many people know this, that you are, obviously Infinite, and then before Infinite, Alpha is very much still a Thailand or Bangkok based company at a very high global stage. What does that look like for you guys as a company, right? Has that ever been a hindrance in terms of growth? Has that ever been a challenge, right? Because a lot of people favor the companies in the States, or Asia is Alpha for sure, but Dubai, Singapore and stuff, and there's not many from Thailand. So one, kudos to that, great job on putting us on the global stage. I want to root for Thai founders, but tell us more about that whole, I'd say, journey and perception of being a Thai founder, or even a company based in Bangkok.
Yeah, very, very good question, and multiple opinions. First of all, I think the downside of it is it caps our talent pool.
Right.
So
naturally.
Yeah. And people can say, hey, like you can hire, internationally, you can hire, work from anywhere, but there's a language barrier.
Yeah.
Because internally we speak Thai, because different developers, familiar in Thai. So that's the downside, and I did try to overcome that downside, and then I realized it's a downside that I cannot overcome. So trying to overcome downside, meaning like I try to hire internationally, perhaps maybe like business team only, internationally, developer team in Thai.
Right.
But then you have like 2 cultures in one company, and that's not a good way to run a company.
Right.
And then communication issues and all those things. So then I realized, okay, it may not work for our company. And then, so that's a downside. The good side though, and the upside is, I think once I come across, once I come across the fact that, okay, I'm not gonna hire internationally anymore, right? Then I put so much focus on grooming my team to be like the best quality ever, and I think it has paid off. Because almost everyone in our team is very like driven, not because of the crypto prices or everything, but they really want to make change.
Right.
And I think I take advantage of our similar background to drive that. Like, hey, like we have a team and we have ability to actually make change in financial systems, and all of us actually like see what it is when people have bad access to finance. Because Thailand, I would say financial literacy is pretty low, and financial system is okay, but pretty limited access. Like Thai stocks market not as great as US, right? So I think that urge and drive also come from our similar background as well, so people can see the same vision like easier. Yeah. So when I put the goal to be, okay, how do I, if this is my given variable, how do I make the most of it? How do I create the best outcome of it? And I think I kind of found a way to navigate that.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I think if I don't bring it out, or let's say not many people go back and research on the actual fact of where you guys are based, I don't think you guys are doing anything lesser than a company outside of Thailand, right? So that's a fantastic job, and I'm pretty sure your community is even more bullish that you have like international mindset founder, Harvard dropped out to build the product, right? And I think that's usually a sign of the degens call it a sign of bullishness. Tell us one thing that we all can look forward to from Infinite as alpha.
As alpha, two things. The first thing is on the end consumer side, we look to change how people use DeFi. Like, we're not just building product just to capture like one small market. We will keep iterating and experimenting to really change the user behavior of how people think of use of DeFi. It may not mean that it will happen this year or like next year, but as we build towards that goal, like we will build multiple products, multiple solutions, multiple tools that put together serve that purpose. Ideally, down the line, the vision that we have is that people use Grok, people use ChatGPT on daily life, and people already do, right? But they also do that for like DeFi, for finance. And then ChatGPT, Grok can actually have access to our products through multiple, maybe different wallets or like agents that we built to execute things for you on chain. So your main go-to product is actually going to be ChatGPT or Grok, but we actually run all the different things behind the scene that get these things done on chain for you through multiple products that we build. Infinite Strategies, I would say, is the furthest in the spectrum of like it's a last mile to execute things, right? And now that we have last mile and it works, we're going back to the first mile to see, okay, if we're gonna close the whole logistic loop of DeFi discovery to execution, assuming that with the thesis that people will use Grok and ChatGPT as the first mile or like the first thing that they use, how do we bridge this gap, right?
Interesting.
Which means that it would really change how people think and use of DeFi over time. So that's the first thing, right? The second thing is, I think over time, our products and also our company will evolve more and more into TradFi as well, particularly like, let's say, like payments. And yeah, I think more so payments, because if you think about it, blockchain itself is like a payment gateway, right? And now agents are starting to do things on this payment gateway. And if we put Infinite into the blockchain world, what we're figuring out is, okay, how do we ensure that users can use DeFi easier in this agentic flow? But if we compare this Web3 world or like blockchain world to actual real world, we can actually see that, hey, in the real world, everything is still human based. Payment gateway is built for human, it's not built for agents. But I think we are already seeing more and more actions by different like big companies in the US already, like figuring out building different parts towards agentic payment as well. So as we build this part, I think the interesting thing is we may see synergies and similarities of things that we built on chain to be applied to actual world, applying to agentic payment as well.
Fantastic. Yep, that's a very futuristic and I would say achievable goal, and something that I personally think has very high use case in real world practically. And yeah, I think it's super exciting. Well, I guess thank you so much for having take out this time. I know you're gonna go back and build, scale those minions and build more of these infras and agentic that will eventually help us all make money. But I really appreciate the time. And if there's anything else that you'd like to share as your last parting words to the rest of the audience out here, would love to kind of hear that from you. And just appreciate your time here.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think my last words would be, I really think this is the moment where there can be a big innovation in financial system that is much needed. Blockchain is one, and now we're seeing another where I think it leverages blockchain to actually benefit things in the real world. So yeah, I'm very excited about it, and I think for Infinite we're super early. Even though we launched a token already, we did multiple rounds of like fundraising, but I still see this as very, very early. Like I'm here to build for many, many decades.
Awesome. That's what we want to hear from founders, especially in this space, right? Because people get very complacent when they start raising funds, and that becomes one of the biggest, in my opinion, threats for a project community. Because when founders usually reach a certain level, raise multiple rounds, they become too comfortable and complacent, and that's where I'd say innovation goes down instead of going up. Thank you so much, guys. Everyone here has heard it from Tasha firsthand of what they're building at Infinite. I'll drop in the links below here for you guys to follow them. Do make sure to go check out their platform, because it's not one of those products that it's about to launch. They've been around for a while. They're going to continue building for decades, as you've heard from Tasha. But thank you so much, guys, for watching this. Until next episode, cheers.